You are now tuned into the sounds of Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
Sitting looking back on all the times we shared, when I acted like I just didn't really care, and it wasn't fair. You stood by me, girl, when I was so untrue. But this is my promise, girl, I give to only you. Let me be the one, you the one you come running to. When you need me, I'll be there, just to let you know that I do care. Baby, I promise, girl, I promise, I'll always be true. And baby, I promise, girl, I promise you that I'll be right here for you. No matter the problem, babe, I'll stand by your side. Be right by your side. Yeah, can never be denied.
You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
Cut it off! I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody. I mean, damn it! I'm ticked off.
Skip. Good Lord, thank the good Lord I am on FCC airwaves. I thank the good Lord. It's hard to take, man. I don't understand it. I don't understand how these dudes put themselves in this situation. I truly do not understand it. That's the kindest way I can put it. I think to go any further than that, Skip, I might lose it. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna lie to you.
Could've, would've, should've is the difference of what I'm talking about. The good teams don't come in and say could've. They get it done. All right? It's that simple. I'm tired of saying could've, should've, would've. That's why we ain't good enough yet. Because we're saying could've and they ain't.
It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Thank you, Mr. Anthony Candy, for playing all those clips. I don't know what the purpose of that was for. This is episode number 401, Maryland football, week 6. I know it's been a couple weeks since you last saw me talk about Maryland football, and it has been off to an interesting start. Actually, the title of the video, In Defense of Mike Locksley, Part 2. I think with this team, this was to be expected. This is not the same team from last year, and it's not the same team from the last couple of years. This is a young group that's rebuilding, and they have to give it time. I think we have been so. I think we have this expectation. I get it. Fans have expectations, but some of those expectations are unrealistic. Okay, he's won 3 straight bowl games. What else do you want the man to do? We're not a Michigan. We're not Ohio State. We're not Georgia. We're not Texas. We're not Alabama. We're a middle tier football program that's rebuilding. I wanted to say this for my last, and I'm gonna stop right there, and I'm gonna save the rest of it for one final thought, because I just think the problem that I have with Maryland fans, kind of like this with Raven fans, a couple bad losses, let's start thinking about firing the coach, or get an athletic director in here that's going to do his job. Like, stop. It makes absolutely no sense. And I'm going to start with the Indiana loss. We painfully lost. We got our ass whooped. It was on a Saturday. The final score, the Indiana Hoosiers beat the Maryland Terrapins 42-28.
Game over, yeah!
Thanks for playing that, producers. Really, really appreciate that. Um, okay, where do I begin? Injuries, definitely from that game didn't look the best. Ty Felton, Kay Prather, Andre Rowe Jr., Dante Schrader Jr., Brandon Jacob, all left the games with injuries. They was to the point Jalen Husky was playing safety, and without Prather and Ty Felton offensively, we just did not have. We just couldn't keep up with Indiana's offense. To lose 4 starters, that's not that. I can't simply defend that. We did not capitalize on the 2 turnovers. Excuse me, the 4 turnovers. Work had threw 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. But I cannot defend on those 4 drives. You did not get a first down.
Mm-hmm. I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
He didn't even try.
So I really, really am extremely disappointed in how we looked. And those 4 turnovers by Indiana it didn't even stop their offense. I mean, they coming in this game have been the thing that's bigger strength was not committing a turnover. They haven't committed those single turnover in those first 4 games. I mean, Curtis O'Rourke struggled early. I mean, we didn't capitalize on any of that. Billy Edwards was sacked 5 times in that game. Why? Because of their attack coverage downfield. I mean, in the second half, that's when Indiana's offense really got going. Not having Dante Schrader Jr. out there, not having Brandon Jacob, injuries. I mean, to watch a quarterback who struggled 22 of 33 for 359 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game, that can't happen. Now, and also too, the penalties. Last week, the week before, beat Villanova. We had 8 penalties. Against Indiana, we had 10 penalties, and 9 of them were on the offense.
He didn't even try.
So again, I'm really trying to give Mike and Evan and Gaddis benefit of the doubt, but I don't know if this could be miscommunication, poor timing. That's an issue. I mean, at this point, you thought it would have been fixed, and especially, and we'll get to with the Northwestern loss, Big Ten competition, that can't happen. I mean, you got an offensive on the offensive lineman unsportsmanlike penalty, 2 face masks, like it's like what are you doing out there? And even those penalties really stalled from what we were making progress. I mean, it was a 1st and 30.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
I don't know. I mean, I just think it just threw our offensive game. I think the whole game plan out the window. We abandoned the run early in the game and relied passively, and we weren't versatile. We became one dimensional, and those things simply can't happen. That was probably the most disappointing loss I think I've ever seen in quite some time. I mean, Ramon Henry had a 75-yard touchdown. That was great. He finished 117 yards in that game. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, we allowed Indiana to average their 5 yards to carry, 167 second half in the second half passing yards on 14 throws. I mean, they had 4 of their 7 drives, Indiana, all in an end zone. Let's take a commercial break and we'll talk about the Northwestern loss. Be right back. All right, and the Northwestern loss. This was something I was not expecting. Final score 37-10.
Hell no.
I mean, damn! Damn! What the hell was that? Hey, what the hell? You freaking kidding me?
What was that? What the hell was that? I'm sorry the H words and the D words aren't appropriate over the airwaves, but it's going to be today. I don't know how much more of this I can take. How in God's name?
Okay, so for those that don't know Northwestern, so this is our first. We're looking for our first Big Ten win of the year. Coming into this game, Northwestern was 0-2 in the Big Ten, 2-3 last year, 8-5. I believe, if I remember correctly, won 5 games last year. I mean, Cam Porter, big fan of his, graduate running back. He was Northwestern's leading rusher last year. I remember AJ Henning was there. They got a pretty good secondary. Their defense was kind of in the middle. I think like they came sixth. I think coming in the end is like sixth, 23 passes deflected. But they were not the best offensively. They are the fourth worst passing attack in the conference. I mean, they coming in the game, I think it was 877 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. I think it was 5 interceptions. I mean, I think is it Jack? Oh my gosh, who's quarterback? Jack Leisure. I think his QBR. I think was 10, down there 108. That is a mediocre offense. You're at home. You know, the injuries, everybody looked ready to play. I know we missed some guys out there. This is a conference win. I think conference play always brings out the best in your team. And what I saw was a team that really missed the opportunity to win. Your remaining opponents outside in the Big USC, Minnesota, number 3 Oregon, Rutgers, Iowa, Penn State. I'm actually quite concerned because, first and foremost, I still think Maryland will win 6 games and get to a bowl game. USC, Oregon, Iowa, Penn State, they're established. Outside of Minnesota and Rutgers, which I think honestly are easy wins on paper, games not on paper. I'm really, really curious to see how we'll look. And we got a homecoming game up, and I'll be honest, I'm not really confident in that neither. I do have a question though for Mike Locksley. Mike, you took over the play calling in this game. Could you explain that to me? What did you see differently with the play calling? That's the first time you've done that. Josh Gaddis was hired in 2023. We averaged a low 4.2 yards per play, 10 yards and fewer than going back November 2022. We turned the ball over 3 times. Billy Edwards threw a pick and fumbled the ball. Preston Howard fumbled. your best, the best way you scored the ball was on 16 plays and 2 scoring drives that were for 16 plays and 18 plays respectfully. And what was that? A lot of quick throws and run pass options. Your offensive attack was extremely questionable. Something doesn't add up there. In the first 3 quarters, you ran the ball 32 times and you ran it 30 times. I'm confused. So do we expect more out of Josh? Are we what was the thought process on that? I question that. Defensively, okay. Between the second and third quarters, respectfully, 17 points were scored, 221 yards in 2 quarters. Missed a field goal. Can't defend that. Northwestern, they struggled to move the ball. I mean, just in both quarters, the second and third quarters combined, they had just 64 yards. That was passing the ball. They ran the ball 11 times and didn't get a single yard. We did everything right. But this is not what I expected. At home, when it mattered, you lost the turnover battle and you didn't make big plays. I mean, the penalties, I'll give you positives on, but when you allow 2 fumbles, that can't happen. I mean, example, it was an assuring kickoff. It was Ricardo Cooper Jr. fumbles at the 23-yard line. The defense makes a stop, but 17-0. I mean, the half. I mean, didn't even score the first 4 out of 5 drives to a 7 on third down. Like what are we doing?
I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This is disgusting. It's disgraceful. It's embarrassing. And I'm ticked off. It don't make any sense. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And something needs to be done about it. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
And then the only lone touchdown was on that 90-yard drive in the second quarter. And you were bailed out with a third down pass interference call. It took 4 downs to score to make it 17-10. Where were the big plays? Where was that? You've got skilled guys. Now, in fairness, again, there are some injuries there. But we've got some talent on this roster. I don't know if we're not utilizing them in the right way. I don't know if guys just didn't show up. We just had a bad game. But this is not the Maryland Terrapins football team that I've been watching the last few years. This team is different. This team is younger. There are going to be mistakes. But I had thought by this point, things would have gotten better. I'm seeing the same things. If it's not one thing, it's something new, or it's something repetitive that's keep coming into the games. Your longest play of the night was a 27-yard completion to Octavian Smith Jr. You didn't score in the third quarter. I mean, you're down 7 points when Jack Howes made that field goal. Fumble, turnover run down. Fumble, interception. Turnover on downs. Northwestern won the game. I mean, you can't be in the red zone, or you can't. You got to figure out how to score some points. Like, and that doesn't help your defense when they can't get stops and they're on the field longer. They're tired, and that's where I have to look at Mike. And again, I look at Josh, because it's like, okay, you've been here since 2023. What is different? Why? And Mike too. Yeah, the play calling has to be fixed there, because what you saw, that was embarrassing. I mean, I'm extremely disappointed in how we looked. I mean, Billy Edwards, 28 of 51. My quarterback shouldn't be throwing 51 passes. He should have been taken out of the game. I don't like that. Had an interception. He had a rushing touchdown. But again, unfortunately, the inability to consistently move down the field and score in the red zone. There was a couple of times he looked inconsistent. I mean, trying to look for Ramon Henry or Ty Felton. I mean, his interception happened because you're trying to push the ball down the field where you're trying to get some points on the board. What happened? It was a blindsided sack. Scoop and score Northwestern Wildcats. Ty Felton. I mean, he and Nolan Ray, the running game, 54 yards on the ground, but they didn't have much of an impact. Why? Because your offensive line didn't do what it needed to do. Outside of Ty Felton and Caden Prather, Ty Felton, set 9 receptions, 77 yards. Caden Prather, 14 catches. 8 catches, 81 yards. They just, honestly and truthfully, outside of Octavian Smith, I couldn't find anybody else. And don't get me started on Preston Howard. I mean, Preston Howard had a decent game, 5 catches, 59 yards. Dylan Wade had 1 catch for 17 yards. But I mean, that fourth quarter fumble when you're down 17 points, that was a mess. And the offensive line, don't get me started with them again. This is it's a different group. I still think they'll get it together, but again, you cannot create holes for your running backs. That can't happen. I mean, it took you 4 times from the 1 yard line to score the ball. And again, it wasn't just like, it's not like you're facing like the number one defense. I mean, pass blocking. They allowed 3 sacks. Defensively, I thought the defense line was okay. The secondary, listen, I'm being nice, but I'm being serious at the same time. Dante Trader Jr. was out with an injury. So to allow an offense that had the 4th worst offensive game in the conference, you allow 203 yards passing. But that can't happen. How many times did you see Jack Lausch complete the ball at least 40 yards or more? I mean, our secondary didn't do anything. They were little to no effective. I mean, that first, if I remember correctly, the one play was to AJ Henning. I mean, Calvis Thomas, the closest person, didn't even do anything. Well, I'm sorry. He's preventing him from scoring because Henning had to stop and catch the ball. But you cannot let a quarterback beat you with his arm the way they did. Now, and then also too, There's three phases to the football team, to the football game: offense, defense, special teams. Our special teams didn't look good. I mean, Jack Howes missed the field goal. Ricardo fumbled the ball. Those things can't happen. And again, there was just a lack of rhythm. There was a lot of miscues on all three phases of the football. And that's not just on Mike. That's on the rest of the coaching staff, and that's on the players. I got to hold everybody held accountable. But everybody points, and I'm not trying to make it seem like Mike to me, is doing all the right things he can do. You got to hold these players, you got to hold the guys in the locker room accountable. Because last time I checked, they got to go out there and play. How you practice is how you play. And what I've seen these last two games, and again, mired with injuries, I understand that. But it's a next minute mentality. There's no way in heck this game should have been 37-10. It should not have. That's embarrassing. How do you even respond in a situation like that? That's embarrassing. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, when you look at these games, like I said, Ty Fountain is looking really good. I think we'll get better. I believe that. But I'm concerned as the rest of the schedule looks. I still think Maryland will get there. I think they'll make a bowl game. Like I said, this is what we have next. USC, Minnesota, Oregon, Rutgers, Iowa, Penn State. We have 6 games to get it right. I'm not concerned. But I am concerned to watch these last 2 games. You're 0-3 in the conference and you're exactly 500. Now, we kind of need to move the needle. Again, we should have known coming into this season, ladies and gentlemen, that there were going to be growing pains with this team. I think we have been so spoiled with how we've looked the last 3 years. And you have to give Mike credit for the way he's built this program. Everyone he's brought in. It was going to be different once Talia left. It was different when we were going to lose Rakeem, Jacob, and others. It was going to be different. You have to give these guys, you have to give them grace. Look, I can criticize them and saying, hey, keep your head up. You'll get it together. But you kind of have to take accountability in how you perform. Because right now, because I'm reading, seeing stuff that they could finish with 4 wins. They may not make the playoffs. Blah, 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 blah. Like, we have to be better. And it starts with, I think, really number one, our defense. Our bread and butter to me is always running the ball. Offensive line. I understand this. At this point in the season, they should have the chemistry. So I don't know why they struggled to create running lanes for Ramon and Nolan Ray. I don't understand that. Secondary is young. And again, it didn't have, and Dante wasn't out there. If you had some guys fully healthy, okay, different argument. But let's just get into one final thought, please. Yeah.
Thoughts are running through my mind, so I took some time to find a minute or two to organize them.
Listen, as you see, it's part 2. I think for me, Mike, I think to call for the man's job is extremely disingenuous, because I could see if we were doing poor, like we didn't do anything since he's been here. He's won 3 straight bowl games. If you fire him, who are you replacing him with? Everybody brought up, well, look at what Randy Hassel did. We didn't do anything with him. What did we do? We lost, if I remember correctly, we lost a bowl game. Oh, like, and again, a lot of it also too. I mean, like example, there's one thing, Twitter. Well, he's 0-11 after a bye. All right, look, out along the lines of like he was out coached X, Y, and Z. They're going to finish 3-9 if I'm correctly saying that right. And again, like I even saw one tweet where, somewhere along the lines of the AD, which is Damon Evans, Mike, defensive offense coordinator, quarterback, and even could say our offensive line and defensive lines were a D2. Like, really? Y'all. Like, y'all got to have some patience. And you know what's funny? Y'all did this with Brenda and Kevin last year. Now, me personally, Coach Locksley, with all due respect, I'm not one of these fools on social media calling for your job. I believe in this team. I know there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be some good games. There's going to be some bad games. It's all about patience. However, I would have thought by this point of the season, I would have seen some growth. Now, I have seen growth, but especially after a game like the loss to Northwestern, that is a little disappointing. Now, I expect them to come out and be ready against USC. And USC is a good team. But let's pump the brakes on calling for the man's job, because if you fire him, the number one question is who you're replacing him with. Oh, and by the way, if that person doesn't pan out, what's your excuse then, Terp fans? Please let me know. Because you did the same thing with Mark Turgeon, even though biggest thing is no one was coming out to support the teams. Because that's another thing too. A lot of people who talk that this direct don't come out and support these teams. I watched it with the women's basketball team. I've seen it with the men's and with the football team. And you think firing the man is going to fix the problem? Because it doesn't. You gotta give it patience. He's bringing in recruits next year. He's getting a 4-star next year in Malik Washington. This year was a transition year. Y'all should have seen this coming. They're still possible. I still think they're going to win 6 games, and if they do, they're winning a bowl game. So he has his 4th bowl game. What are you saying then? Because when he does, and when he does and will win a bowl game, y'all will eat crow. But until then, I'm out. Peace. Stay up. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. Producers, please get me off the screen before I say something else and I'm going to regret. I'm out of here. Peace. Stay up.
I know that loving me wasn't always easy. And you felt like walking away when you couldn't see me. Felt like all your hope was gone. But I'm right here on bended knee. Please be my wife and stay with me. Please take my hand through stormy weather. We will stay, yeah. Let me be the one you. When you need me, I'll be there. Just to let you know that I really do care. Yeah. Baby, I'm promise. Baby, I promise. I'll be right here for you. No matter the problem. No matter the problem, baby. I'll be by your side. 'Cause the love we share can never be denied.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do. Yeah.
These are legitimate questions. I don't have answers. I'm starving for answers. I'm starving for them because I don't have them. I'm so disgusted because I got to be out there at that game this Saturday. I got to see this. Inquiring minds want to know why. I truly do want to know why.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
This is how I believe, okay? I'm from the old school. I believe this. I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. I cannot play with them, cannot win with them, cannot coach with them, can't do it. I want winners. I want people that want to win.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?